Hello, it's Doris with Aldi Books. And January is my favorite time of year. Actually, someone coined it betweenmas. So that time from post-Christmas to the new year and beyond, I just love a new start and fresh plans. So I start mulling over what the new year will look like right after Christmas, and I've definitely been doing that. I'm a little late telling you about it. I apologize for that, but here I am now. And I have to say, living in China, January is even better because, oh my goodness, Chinese New Year is so awesome. Oh, I love it. So I've always considered myself super lucky to be a school teacher. And it's like I get 2 New Years every year because I get the real New Year, and then I get a fresh start when school starts back in August. So school teachers get 2 New Years, and it's just great. And now, living in China, I get 3 New Years. And I gotta say, I never really understood the whole idea about having a separate New Year, but living in China, I totally get it. I totally get it. If you watch my vlogs that I posted recently, there's a lot of little bits about leading up to Chinese New Year. We're not there yet. The official day is Sunday, this coming Sunday. I believe that's the 23rd. No, that's the day we're flying to Vietnam. So maybe the 22nd is this coming Sunday. And I believe it's celebrated the Friday before and then the whole week of. So it's national holiday. People get off work. But it's just really lovely family and friend-focused holiday. So it's like a combination of Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, like the whole gift giving and appreciating of people and fresh start and festive celebration all combined. So stay tuned. There will be more vlogs upcoming because I intend to vlog this weekend for the actual day of Chinese New Year or weekend of. And then, of course, I'm going to need to vlog Vietnam. So stay tuned for all that. But I did say I'm here for the New Year's, my plans and goals, which involves wrapping up the old year. So if you've been around all year, you know it was a year of major life changes. Hello, I moved to China and also have a man in my life now for the first time in like forever. I'm not exaggerating. That's not hyperbole. So love my job. I did not realize how much I was just in a rut in my old one. This is just rejuvenating to work in a place that you just like, not that I didn't enjoy the location and the people I worked with, but I really feel invested in what I'm doing right now. So such a good feeling. Teaching chemistry, oh my goodness. But they tell me I'm going to be back in ESL next year. So, and yeah, being in a relationship and having someone that, you enjoy being around, it's just all great. It's all great. So moving on. Other than that, like my normal life kind of fell apart last year. Reading wise, the second half of the year was barely there. There were some months that I was barely on BookTube, and yeah. But that's what happens when you have a drastic change or 2 or 3. So my plans for 2022, luckily I knew well ahead of time that it was going to be, a different kind of year. So I planned accordingly. My January focus from 2022 was Asia, and I did read several books from Asia. I think I worked on clearing off my Asian TBR shelf, so check. The BookTube prize, I did nonfiction and translated fiction, and that went really well. Always enjoy that, and really grateful to Robert for coming up with the idea and organizing it every year. The Book Naturalists. So with the Book Naturalists, we read nature writing every month. We try to focus on women and diversity, mostly nonfiction, a few fiction scattered in. And I didn't finish them in a timely manner at all. I apologize, but I am finished. I finished the last one the first week of January this year. So got them all finished finally, and I'm just going to wrap up the last 6 months all together in the coming week. I'm on break also. Did I tell you? We have 2 weeks off for Chinese New Year. So trying to get caught up with all the things. Mid-month book bash. So I was successful. I remembered to do that every month, and I believe that I even vlogged at least a little something every month. And I really, really love mid-month book bash. It keeps me on track. So the idea, it's a readathon, which I don't think we do much of those these days on BookTube. I haven't noticed them the way they were when I first started. But anyway, it's a readathon, a very lax one. So it's instead of the 24 and 48 hours idea, it's more of a extension of that. So we start on Friday and we end on Monday, just to give us a little extra room, a jump start, and a finish up what we didn't get done on the weekend kind of deal. So yeah, I did that. It's just kind of to remind me at the beginning of the month to get some reading in, instead of waiting till the last week and going, oh my goodness, I haven't gotten my reading in that I wanted to. So it's always the weekend of or immediately after the 10th of the month. So I'm not sure. I posted in my last video when that was, but find the 10th of February. We've already done January. It was last weekend. Find the 10th of the month, and if the 10th is on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, then it's that weekend. If the 10th is on a Wednesday or Thursday, then it's the weekend right after it. Makes sense? It's just to get us, in the reading groove at the beginning of the month, instead of waiting until the end and going, uh-oh, Okay. Number 5 was to downsize my physical TBR. I definitely did that. I think you guys watched that if you were around last year. Number 6 is my first failure. I was going to read Obama's favorites from 2022. I really liked that list, but that did not happen, at all. I just totally, like I said, the last 6 months of the year were just a wash. So, oh well. And I wanted to get into the Hobonichi, which is a Japanese planner, a daily planner, and Kathy Grimm kindly sent me hers that she didn't quite get along with, the daily planner version. So she likes the unstructured version, and she's still in a Hobonichi, just the unstructured one. And I kept up with it for, I think, most of January, and then I just realized, this is not the first year I've tried. I just feel really drawn to the Hobonichi, but so far it has not worked for me, not for lack of trying. But I ended up sending the Hobonichi off yet again to Heidi from My Reading Life, who really gelled with it. So yay! And she's doing it again in this year, 2023. So the Hobonichi was a failure for me, but not so much because, it found a home that really worked. So then I had a few little life goals. You know, my son and I, living in Tennessee, there's a lot of state parks, and we had been working to go to all the state parks, and we finished the last 5 last year. So cross that goal off. I think there are 56 state parks in Tennessee. So if you have not visited Tennessee, it is an absolutely gorgeous state. Well worth a vacation. Trust me and Gabriel, we know. And then we're also working to see all 50 states. And we were at 30, and I wanted to get us, or maybe we were at 31. I wanted to get us up to 35 last year, but that just didn't work either. We're currently at 31. We did go to see St. Louis with my church bestie, who is a native of St. Louis. So that was a great trip. And this year we may take a hiatus as well, because Brent and I will be traveling back to the States in the summer, June, July, and we're going to bring Gabriel up to Canada because Brent is Canadian. And so we're going to do the Canadian tour, starting on the West Coast and Victoria, Vancouver Island, and then through the Rockies and ending up in, through Alberta and ending up in London, Ontario, I believe, which is kind of above Tennessee, and then we'll go down and visit Tennessee. So we're going to do the Canadian tour this year, which is, pretty epic. So I think that the States will be on hiatus, but we've been brainstorming a lot about getting those done. So we will. Credit cards. I'm at zero. I owe nothing. It's fabulous. What a great feeling. Whew, moving on. Minimalism, check. That is an ongoing process back home. Won't talk about that, but I minimalized a lot before I left. And if you've seen this lifestyle that Brent lives, it's very minimalistic, and I'm really grooving with it. I may have looked like a hoarder and a pack rat back home, which I also am. I think I've mentioned this before. I have pack rat tendencies, but I had to spend a lot of my formative years living sharing a bedroom with my sister, who is, a purging queen. She will throw it away in a heartbeat. And that kind of messed up my psyche a bit. So I'm a pack rat who likes to purge. So I can get along in both extremes. And I do, as you have seen recently and before. Anyway, health. I was working on my weight for blood pressure reasons, and I don't even know if I accomplished that. I've gotten great at, keeping up with walking and trying to control what I eat, which is up and down. But I'm here to tell you, I have not been on a scale since coming to Canada, and it is glorious. It is absolutely glorious. I don't think I'll ever get on one again. Yeah, it's just awesome. And you know what I've discovered? I can tell by the way my clothes fit. So I don't need the trauma of knowing how much I weigh. I just don't. So, yay. Number 6, Gabriel graduates. I like to make goals in units of 7s because that's my favorite number. So I had 7 planning goals, reading goals, and 7 life goals last year. So we had a graduation party and got him into university, and he sent me pictures in the dorm, and I'm just so happy for him. I think this is going to be such a great move. He started his 2nd semester this week, and I'm just really, really happy. It's been good. And then number 7, moved to China. Check. I did it. Sorry, I hope you don't mind the rambling. I'm just feeling wordy this morning. Maybe I should have broken this into 2 videos, but nah, I'm almost done, I promise. So here are my little plans for 2023. One of my kindergartners gave me this little journal in the lunchroom one day, and I just love it. I just love it. So this is my little book of lists for the year, and I promise I'm going to show you my journals very soon. I've started all of them, and I'm ready to show them to you. Finally, I know this is at least the third time, if not the seventh time I've said that, but for real, it's going to happen now. But my little goals for 2023, these are plans. I don't really do goals. I just do plans. So here they are. Number one is to continue with the book Naturalists. Yay. This is our third year, and it has just been so enriching for Heidi and I. And we see a lot of people pop up in the comments of our videos and on Instagram. And it's just so rewarding to see people joining in here and there and picking up more nature writing and enjoying it. So love the book Naturalist. Number two, obviously, is the BookTube Prize. Love that as well. Such a brilliant idea that Robert came up with. I just think it enriches the whole community here on BookTube. So loving that. Continuing in nonfiction this year. Number three, my January focus. So for the past maybe 4 or 5 years, I've done a January focus where I kind of focus on a political fault line in the world and just read a lot, like at least 10 books from that area within the month or the first couple months of the year. That has been an extremely enriching process. I did Japan and Korea. The first year I did Muslim and Jewish writings. I did Cuba. That was so good. I did South Africa. That was brilliant. And then last year I just did Asian, just off my shelf because it was a chaotic year. And this year is still chaotic, so I just don't want to put that burden on myself. I spent the last 6 months trying to get caught up on books that I was required to read or that I'd started for whatever reason, and it took me months to finish. So it was, as I said, the first week of January before I finally got a clean slate. So I was not ready to put a list of requirements on myself. I needed breathing room. I fully intend to go back to the January focus next year because I really love it a lot. But this year I've decided to just read China or read books from my school library and do that over the course of the year, at least one a month, or maybe 10 or 12 during the year. No like strict parameters, but I'm just going to read books about China or by Chinese or Chinese American authors, or read books from my school library. And I've already read the little picture book about Chinese New Year, which was brilliant. I absolutely loved that book and learning about Chinese New Year. I keep gushing about Chinese New Year, but guys, it's great. And I also picked up another book from the school library that I intend to read. So check, and then hopefully another check. Mid-month book bash. Yes, we're continuing with that one. I love it. Another thing I love. I just love these grooves that I've found, and I just see myself doing them for years to come. But a new one, number 5, is Storygraph. So I have joined Storygraph. I think I'm just Doris Sander over there. I started like the last week or so, a couple weeks of December, and it's been great. It's been so great. I never enjoyed Goodreads. It's so clunky. But Storygraph, I'm just really loving, and it's been so helpful because I don't really have access to a lot of physical books right now. So I'm reading a lot online, and you want to like keep a TBR, or, you know, I used to even write down lists of books that I didn't like want to buy right away, but I might want to read someday, and I would just write them down. But that's just not as inspiring as seeing the cover and the blurb on the back, you know? So Storygraph has been perfect. I've started a shelf there of books that capture my interest. And I think I might do a monthly video just showing you which books I've put on my shelf that month, and any that I happen to decide to take off. Tell me if you're interested in that sort of video. But yeah, it's really working, and I think I'm going to branch out and see if you can make separate shelves to categorize books, because I mean, you guys know I used to like to keep my books categorized too, so we'll see. Stay tuned, and I think that Heidi and I are also going to make a book naturalist Storygraph page, so I need to get busy on that. Also, newsflash, I am 35 pages away from finishing the Book Naturalist book for January, and I'm reading the correct one. If you watched my vlog and I mentioned the wrong one, thanks for the correction. Oh, precious viewer, I read the right book. Almost done, so I'm turning over. I'm getting back to my old grooves, back to myself, slowly but surely. Okay, number 6 is my physical TBR. I still have a few physical books. So I brought about 50 with me, more or less, when I came in July. That was about how many I could fit in my luggage with the weight. So I still have 35 of those left. So I want to focus on finishing those before we go to the States. So I don't need to finish all of them, because I can, you know, take 5 or 6 with me to read on our trip, because we'll be, you know, traveling for like a month. Wow, crazy, awesome. But I would like to finish those, or finish enough of them that I can finish them in July. And then I know I'm going to want to buy books, because I haven't really bought many here, like 2 or 3. So like I'm going to want to buy all the books, because like there's nothing like walking in a bookstore and buying a handful of books. There's nothing like it. And it'll be fun to travel and drop into bookstores and grab a couple. So I know I'm going to be buying quite a few books this summer, but I would like to kind of go half and half. So bring all the new books, obviously, but still bring some from my physical TBR that I have left back home, so that I can get those read down too. So half and half there is my idea. And then number 7 is literary fiction. So I forgot to mention when I was going over last year, but I barely squeaked under the wire with 100 reads for 2022. And, you know, don't come at me, but I totally cheated in December. And I think that everybody here knows I'm a cheater. So, you know, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but, you know, I finished 100 books. So sue me. No, I scrambled. I think I read 10 or 11 graphic novels in a magazine, and counted a couple picture books. I don't care. It's whatever makes me happy in life. And, you know, that's where we're at here with my book list. It's all about me. Anyway, the other thing, though, that I wanted to mention about that is I didn't keep any stats this year. Again, so chaotic, such a chaotic year. But I did go back and count just now, because I was curious. And 55 of the 100 books were nonfiction, which is crazy. I know. And it's kind of a little, is it ironic? I don't know. But 2 or 3 years ago, one of my goals was to really, I guess I've done this goal like exponentially. I wanted to figure out where to find the nonfiction that I really gravitate toward. I really put in effort to discover authors and websites and booktubers and just all of the information to find the nonfiction that I enjoy reading. Thanks again, Robert. You contributed to the monster. So I did that in spades because last year 55 out of 100 were nonfiction. And I noticed, I think a lot of people have noticed that their lives changed in small ways or large during the pandemic. But one of the things that I noticed was that nonfiction was what I turned to over and over and over. And the fiction that I picked up tended to be more, I would say, genre fiction for the most part. I mean, still some lit fic, but I really got away from my first love, literary fiction. And, you know, I'm not mad about that. It was what I needed to read at the time, what I was drawn to. But sometime in December, again with that December thing, it's my renewal period, I realized that I was finally craving literary fiction again. So goal number 7 and this plan number 7, this is no firm or fast rule either, but I just want to reacquaint myself with literary fiction again. So I've already read Matrix by Lauren Groff, and OMG, absolutely loved it. It was so good, so good. So I don't know how I'm going to go about doing that. I will probably shadow read some of the BookTube Prize long list, and I will probably keep my eyes on the Women's Prize long list, and those sorts of avenues. Obama, I might check out his list again, see if there's anything. I remember seeing it and didn't love it as much as I did the year before, but yeah, I'm just gonna be more aware of literary fiction. And also, I just actually have a backlog of ones that I've seen in the previous year or two that I haven't gotten to. So that's probably actually what I'll do, is just research the last 2 years, the ones that I noticed that interested me that I just never read, and add those to Storygraph. So anyway, those are my reading goals, my 7 little reading goals for 2023. And I do have a few more life goals. So one of them is Instagram. And one way that I turn goals into plans is making concrete ways to keep up with them. So Instagram is one of those ways. So I plan to, on Instagram, make a post once a month for each of these 3 topics. So book naturalist. So I'll post on Instagram with book naturalist, which I actually have all the physical books for those. So I'll be able to take photos. I planned ahead. Journals. I want to make a journal post once a month. So keep up with journaling that way, just a little bit at least. And my stitching, if you're on Instagram, or even if you've watched a vlog or 2 here, I have started cross stitching again. I haven't really cross stitched since my 20s, and I'm absolutely loving it. Oh, it's so good. So satisfying. So I want to do an update post on Instagram once a month. So those are my 3 arenas for Instagram. Gabriel, I've already told you we're taking him to Canada. The States goal is on hiatus for the year, and then planning to bring him to China for Christmas. Oh. They have opened up the borders. They're not issuing tourist visas yet, but I feel like it's just around the corner. I feel like by summer we'll be able. So the plan is hopefully to get him a visa and bring him here for Christmas 2023. Oh, happy day, happy day. And then health goals, I'm just sticking with the mileage. So Britta Bowler and I do a virtual hike. We just keep them going. And Britta, it's hard to keep up with that woman, let me just tell you. But Britta's wanting to average 12,000 steps this year. So that's what we're doing. Because, you know, Britta and I are both planners. We're not goal setters. We're planners. So barring any unforeseen circumstances, we're going to get those 12,000 steps every day. Not every day, but we're going to average them. And running. I always slump with that in the winter. I don't like to be cold. We all know this. I don't like to be cold. It's not even cold here, and I still don't like to be cold. But I've got myself a little calendar that I'll show you when we do my journaling video. And I don't really have any clear, concrete plans there other than just to keep up with it, which means to be able to run a mile any day of the week, to be able to run a mile, which, you know, is not a lot or is a great deal depending on your perspective, but that's all. If you can't run a mile, couch to 5K, if you're at all ever thinking about it, it really does work. Couch to 5K works. You might have to do it a couple times. I had to do it a couple times before it really sank in, but it works. It works. So those are my little plans for 2023. I'm going to do my little journaling video, I promise, soon this week. And thanks so much for watching. It felt good to talk to you face to face, like all the things. So yeah, be back soon. Bye.